Alone Season 10 on the History Channel has started airing, and I want to talk about the contestants and the 10 items that they're bringing along. I'm going to share the 10 items that they're bringing along and just my opinions on everything. And it started to rain. All right, let's just get started. I don't care if I get wet. Okay, I do care that my camera is getting wet though. Let's give it a moment. All right, I'm doing it in here now while it's raining out there. So, in no particular order, I'm going to talk about Luke Joseph Olsen. So the very first item that he brings is a block of salt. He says that it's going to be for electrolytes and flavor, and it's going to be his most important and prized possession. And it looks like a wheel almost with a hole in the middle, or some sort of cylinder piece. And then there's a piece of rope that's tied in through that hole. So it's interesting. So it appears that he's the only one that is bringing a block of salt. Number 2 is a sleeping bag. Number 3 is a cooking pot, and it has a frying pan lid, so it's somewhat unique. He's bringing a gill net. And I found that really interesting that he brought a gill net instead of paracord and then making his own gill net. He says that he's going to use the gill net to kind of set it out on his first day to catch some fish to get food right away. But who knows, we'll see what ends up happening. Number 5 is snare wire. And it doesn't look like he has a lot of snare wire, and it looks all kinked up also. Like he literally had just one small roll, and it looked like it was only a couple feet long. So maybe he didn't show us all of it, but I thought it was really strange, and it looked all kinked up, and it was really weird. Number 6, bow and arrows. Number 7, multi-tool, and it looks like a Leatherman wave. I don't have a Leatherman wave, but I have a Leatherman surge, and it's very similar to a Leatherman surge. And Leatherman waves are slightly smaller than the surge, but it has mostly very similar tools. But the biggest thing that sets the wave and the surge apart is this saw piece right here. This is a removable saw. It uses a T-shank, and so you're able to remove it. So you're able to remove this piece right here and pop in a different piece, even a longer piece if you have it. But the coolest thing about this is the fact that instead of this saw, you can use a file. There's a diamond file or sharpening stone that you can attach to this, and it allows you to remove it. You can take the file and then sharpen other items with it. I'm not sure if that's what he has. It looks like a Leatherman wave though. All right, number 8 is a big, long, silky saw. I know that brand is Silky, but I don't remember the actual name. There goes the thunder. Yeah, I don't know the exact name. I think it's like a Ninja or something, maybe. I'm not sure, but it's super long. Number 9 is 20-pound test fishing line and a variety of hooks. His 10th item is a shovel. And this one is really interesting. I don't really know what I think about this just yet, but it's called a irrigation shovel. And I feel like he should have gone the cold steel shovel instead, but I could be completely wrong. He might have a good strategy with this. He says that he's gonna use it to dig like earth shelter, but the shovel comes to like a point. Let me see. Okay, so this is the shovel that I'm talking about. This is the cold steel shovel. This was used by Zachary Fowler in Alone Season 3, and he was the winner also. This is a rounded sort of spade. And his shovel, the irrigation shovel, comes to a really like strong point. So I'm not sure if that is part of his strategy or if it functions a particular way, but I found that really interesting. But it seemed like there was more metal all the way up to the handle. This is metal only up to here, and then this is all wood. But his, I think, is metal up to here. So I'm not really sure. So it's an interesting item to bring. And I say that he should have used this instead, because you can sharpen this a little bit more and use this sort of like makeshift axe or cutting tool also. All right, the next person is Alan Tenta. So first item he's bringing is an axe. Second is a saw. It's also that really long silky saw. Number 3 is the ferro rod, and this one has a lanyard. Oh, I just realized that Luke didn't bring a ferro rod. Yeah, So he didn't bring a ferro rod. That's interesting. So I wonder if they're gonna show us him getting like a friction fire going or something. Okay. Yeah, so Allen Tenta, number 3, ferro rod with a lanyard. Number 4 is his fishing line, 300 meters, 20-pound test, and then 12-pound test for leaders and his hooks. Number 5 is bow and arrows. Number 6 is sleeping bag. Number 7 is stainless steel pot. Number 8 is paracord, and he brought along 3 different colors. He brought red, orange, and white. So having different colors will allow you to like make lures and catch fish a little bit better, and maybe even use it to mark certain like traps or snares. But he brought 3 colors. Number 9, he brought snare wire, and it looks like it's pretty neatly bound in like these large rolls. It looked like he had heavier gauge wire. Number 10, he brought a multi-tool, and it looked to be a Leatherman Free P4, and it is this right here. I have one. There you go. So the Free P4 like deploys very easily. It's meant to be used and deployed with one hand. So like this, it's easy to open up, turn, and use. It's very, very easy to use, and it sort of like swings open like this. And this was the preferred multi-tool from Clay Hayes from season 8 of Alone, and Clay Hayes was the winner of season 8. I personally was not going to buy this because I just didn't like the look of the knife, which is that right there. See how it's sort of like a sheep's foot or something is what it's called, I guess. So this is the knife. It comes to a point, and this up here kind of curves in like that. I don't like this style of knife. I personally like the knife on the Leatherman Surge more. See, the Surge looks like that, and I like this more opposed to this. But I have grown to enjoy using the Free P4 because it's lighter weight and it's just so easy to open, you know. The Surge, it's not easy to open. Like, you can't open it, but you know, it has lots of friction. But I like the Surge more, and I would prefer to use the Surge as a survival tool if I were to like be on that show or something. But I don't think I'll ever be on the show. Like, I don't have any confidence in myself when it comes to survival. I'm just an enthusiast. But the Free P4, this is really nice. Biggest thing that I like the Surge more over the P4 is this right here. So that right there is the file that is removable. And so you can take this file out and then sharpen your knives. That's on this multi-tool. So take this off, sharpen this knife. And so that's what's cool about this. All right, so that was Allen Tenta. So the next person is Ray DeWilde. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his last name right, DeWilde maybe. But his first item is paracord. He brought several colors: neon green, black, orange, and blue. Number 2 is sleeping bag. Number 3 is cooking pot. It's a titanium cooking pot. Number 4 is ferro rod, and it has a lanyard, and he's wearing it around his neck. That's really important to me because Joe Robinette from season 1, he actually lost his ferro rod, and he ended up having to tap out. And I totally understand that he had to do that. Like, it was so wet in Patagonia that like it wasn't going to be viable to stay without having a ferro rod. So I am really impressed that Luke did not bring a ferro rod at all. It's a pain in the ass to get a friction fire going, and he didn't bring a ferro rod. So yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye on Luke and see if he does good at all without a ferro rod. All right, so number 5 is a variety of fishing line, different pound test, and some hooks. Number 6 is bow and arrows. 7 is snare wire, and he called it aircraft grade that he uses. I'm not entirely sure what it was, but it was in like this blue container or something, or blue spool. 8 is multi-tool, and it looks like a wave or a surge. And the interesting thing is he showed us that on his multi-tool, this is the serrated blade. And the serrated blade I personally don't like, but it is good to cut rope and stuff like that, but that's all I have use for it. I don't use the serrated blade very often, but what he did was he ground the serrated blade into a straight blade. And so that means he has two like blades basically. So he has this one, the main one, and then a straight blade from the serrated one that he ground down. And that's really interesting. All right, number 9, he brought an axe. And number 10 is a saw. And it looks like the really large silky saw also that everyone seems to be bringing. And yeah, that's it for Ray DeWilde. Next up is our first female in the group, Jodi Rose. Number 1, she's bringing bow and arrows. Number 2, various fishing line and hooks. Number 3 is a cooking pot. Number 4, paracord with a variety of colors, a lot. So far, she has the most variety of colors. So we've got camo, pink, red neon green, blue, neon blue, black, and purple. So a variety of different colors. I think she is going to try to do some fishing. So she hopefully makes some lures and stuff like that. That's gonna be cool to see. Number 5, multi-tool. And it's a Leatherman, but it's one of the more old school basic Leathermans. And it has a file though. It's a more basic Leatherman. I don't know what it's called. Yeah, she pulled out a file and it looked like it swung out of the tool. And she said that she was going to use it to sharpen her axe, her saw, and her knife. But the only knife that she's bringing is part of that Leatherman. And how is she going to sharpen her knife with that file if that file isn't removable? And it doesn't look removable in my opinion. Like, the file is not like this file on my Leatherman, which I can remove. Like, I can go like this, it has a T-shank, I can remove the file, and now I can sharpen my knife with it. But hers looked like it was like permanent on the Leatherman, unless there was a way to pull out the tools or something, or undo the screws. I'm not really sure. So the cameraman who was filming that, like, they were all over the place and they weren't filming the correct things, and it seems like they avoid showing like logos, so I think that was probably it also. But their editing and the way they shoot the video was really weird, so it's hard to kind of see what they were bringing. But I would like to know. And then she also said that she was going to sharpen her saw. And her saw is one of the big silky saws also, but the teeth are really small on them. And I'm not really sure if it's possible to sharpen those sort of saws. And silky saws in general, you typically don't sharpen them. Like, I would understand if you're going to sharpen like a crosscut saw or something, you know, that Zachary Fowler brought along. He brought a crosscut saw, I believe, and he was able to sharpen it and stuff, and it made sense because the teeth were a lot larger and the saw was larger and it was more spaced apart. Silky saws have really close teeth and it's harder to like sharpen. I never would think you would sharpen a silky saw. But who knows? You know, I might be completely wrong. All right, number 6, 20 gauge snare wire. Number 7 is the saw that I mentioned, so the silky saw. Number 7 is an axe with a metal handle. Yeah, so her axe, like the head and the entire handle is metal, completely metal, and she's using it to build a log cabin. And so it's really, really interesting to hear her say that, because a previous female, I think it was in season 9 or maybe even season 8, I'm not sure, I forget, but there was another female. She was sort of more military based, and she focused all of her time in the beginning and used up all of her calories and effort into getting a log cabin built, and it all ended up being for nothing because she had to tap out. I don't want Jodi Rose, I don't want her to tap out, but she seems capable. It's really interesting to see and hear her say that she's going to build a log cabin. A lot of people just don't have really good success with that, it seems. But I mean, I forget what season it was. Maybe it was season 7 or 8 or something like that. that it was Roland. He survived 100 days. He's the only one who survived 100 days. I'm not sure if it was season 8 or not, or season 7. I could be wrong. But Roland, he got a log cabin going, kind of, or he called it rock house, I guess. So it was in the rocks, but he did have like logs set up and everything. So he survived 100 days. So, I mean, if Jodi's able to do that, it'd be really good. All right, so number 9, sleeping bag, and number 10, ferro rod, and no lanyard. So I hope she doesn't lose it. I hope she ties a lanyard to it or something. But yeah, she has a ferro rod and has absolutely no lanyard on it. That scares me. All right, so next person. This is person number 5, I think. Yeah, so Cade Cole. Cade Cole is an interesting guy. I'll talk more about him in a different video when I review like the first episode. Number 1 is a custom made knife. It's a really large knife too. And I hope he's tested it out already, because sometimes maybe like it's a custom knife, but you don't know if it's really going to be up for the task. Hopefully it is, but it looks like a really cool knife. He's gonna be using it to butcher and skin large game, hopefully. All right, number 2 is multi-tool. It doesn't look like a Leatherman. I'm not entirely sure what it was. It had pliers, but it was angled. It wasn't straight like a pyramid style, sort of like this, you know, or like a triangle style. It looked more curved this way when he opened it up. It was really interesting. So it doesn't look like a Leatherman to me. I could be wrong. All right, number 3 is a shovel. It's a cold steel shovel. So it's this one right here. So it's a cold steel shovel that Zachary Fowler from season 3 alone brought along. And Zachary Fowler was season 3's winner. And so yeah, he brought this shovel here, hopefully to be able to dig like a shelter in the earth or something. Number 4 is 20-pound test fishing line with hooks. Number 5 is sleeping bag. Number 6 is bows and arrows. Number 7 is a ferro rod, and he has a lanyard on it. That's good. And number 8 is snare wire. Looked like a really large roll of black wire. It might be anodized black wire, or maybe it was coated in rubber or something. I don't know. But it looked really interesting. Number 9 is a cooking pot. It's a titanium cooking pot. Number 10, this one's interesting. This is very interesting. I want you guys to tell me what you think about this also. So number 10 is a bar of soap. He brought a bar of soap to keep clean and prevent dirty hands and getting viruses. That makes a lot of sense, because a lot of the contestants oftentimes get sick for some reason or another, you know, and it could definitely be because of like hygiene and sanitary issues, you know. And so a bar of soap might actually be a really good idea. It might kind of change up the game for him. Like, that's very, very interesting. And so yeah, if he's able to keep clean, you know, he won't have issues with like sores or bacteria or yeast and stuff like that growing on his body and stuff like that, because he's gonna have to be stuck in one place and surviving, right? So soap, yeah, that's, and it's gonna keep like the oils and stuff in his hair clean, and or like his skin and all of that. Yeah, there's so many things that you can talk about like just a bar of soap, I think. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. It's very interesting. All right, so that's the first 5 people. The next one is Ann Rosenquist. I actually looked her up, and she's actually on TikTok, which is really interesting. But it doesn't look like a confirmed account, but it seems like it really is her, and it doesn't seem like she's active on there anyways. But I left a comment in one of her videos, but I haven't had a reply back yet. But her first item is sleeping bag. Second is a saw. It's the really large silky saw also. And she also mentions that she's going to be using the saw edge, like the other side of the edge. Here, let me show you actually. So she's using this side right here to kind of scrape and flesh hides and stuff like that, animal hides. This is not the same size saw that she is bringing. This is the silky saw big boy, And a person does bring this size saw, and I'll tell you later. All right, number 3 is snare wire. It's a variety of snare wire colors and gauges, and it looks all neatly bound up. So number 4 is paracord. It looks like she has a variety of colors. So she has camel brown, red, orange, and neon yellow. She says it's gonna be used for lure making and marking snares and nets. All right, number 5 is a multi-tool. It looks like a custom engraved Leatherman Surge. And she said that it has a saw. And so that means that she opted out of bringing the file. So, like this right here. This right here is a custom engraved Leatherman Surge. So you can engrave like a design on it if you want, but mine just says Phantom Raven and Clueless Bushcraft on it. And it looks like she has a, just a design or something on it. And so this is one of the items that you can design on their website, and I think that's what she did. And when she said that it has a saw, it means that, like, instead of this right here, which is the file, she has the saw. And I think that might be a mistake. These two right here are Leatherman Surges. This one here has the saw attached, and this one here has the file attached. And to be honest, I'm not sure if it's a mistake or not. I could be completely wrong. My opinion doesn't really matter. But the saw on this is so small, and I feel like it's really insignificant. It might work, it might be okay. You might be able to utilize it for some decent things, but it's really challenging to work with this saw. And it's small. But the fact that it has the ability to remove like an item, you know, it has a T-shank, I feel like it's better to go with the diamond file and the standard file here. The file will allow you to sharpen and keep your knife sharp. And so, yeah, I don't know. I would like to see what ends up happening with her. And like the different people who use it brings different things. So I know one person has a file and another person has a saw instead. It's really interesting. All right, so the next one, number 6, is an axe. Number 7, she brought a cooking pot. She mentioned that it's a 2-quart maximum that's allowed. So it seems like there's a maximum size like cooking pot that you can bring. So, and it's 2 quarts possibly. Otherwise, it's a stainless steel pot, and it actually looked like the Pathfinder survival pot. So it's this pot right here. So this right here, the logo is right here, but it's faded right there. It's a Pathfinder survival. It has this right here, which is really nice. It kind of locks into place. Like you can lock it into place. It doesn't stick around. Like, see, it stays, it locks. And these flare out, which is really nice. It also has a lid, but I don't know where it is at the moment. I have it somewhere. But Dave Canterbury actually was the one who sent this to me. Like, this was a gift from him. So it was really cool of him. And so, yeah, I think the one that they have in the show alone is probably either a non-branded one, or it probably is the Pathfinder one, and they just aren't showing the logo. That possibly is it, but I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, this is the exact one that she brought. All right, number 8 is fishing line and hooks. And it looked like she had her hooks stored in an Altoids container, which is really interesting because a container like that is very valuable, because now she's able to utilize that Altoids container and actually make char cloth with that Altoids container. She can take some cloth material, put it in, and put it into a fire to get charred material. Charred material will allow you to get a fire going, like your next fire going, very, very easily with just a tiny spark. And so that might be her sort of goal. I don't know, but it is a good container, you know, to store hooks and stuff too. But I just found that really interesting because I totally would use that as a container, you know, so that I can use it for other things. And she also has a spool of fishing line that's 20-pound test. Otherwise, number 9 is bow and arrows. Number 10 is a ferro rod, and it looks like it has a small lanyard, possibly just to make it more visible, and it's paired with a striker. The small lanyard doesn't look really long or anything. It's just really, really short and small. So hopefully she doesn't lose that. All right. The next person is Melanie Sawyer. She's got the first item as bow and arrows. Number 2 is snare wire. It's a large stainless steel spool with some yellow or brass wire. The brass one looked really kinked up. I'm not sure really if the snare wire being all kinked up really matters at all, but I feel like it would be better if it wasn't kinked up, so that way like it could kind of smoothly sort of snare up on the animal a little bit better. I'm not really sure. All right, let's move back outside. It's still kind of raining. This is okay though. All right, so where were we? We're still on Melanie Sawyer. Number 3 is fishing line and hooks, 300 yards, 20-pound test. Number 4 is a saw, and she actually brought the Silky Saw Big Boy, which is the one that I showed you earlier. So it's this one right here. So this is the Silky Saw Big Boy, and it's a really decent size. I love it. The one that I have though is the Outback version. This one here is a little bit more tougher. The teeth are a little bit more aggressive, and it's meant to cut through bone. Hers though is just the standard version, and hers has a orange handle. Mine, I'm not sure what this material is, but it's really tough. It's almost like plaster wood or some sort of pressed wood, I think maybe. But yeah, this is the saw that she ended up bringing. Number 5 is a multi-tool. She brought a Leatherman Surge with the removable file. So that right there is really big, because having a removable file will allow you to sharpen your knives and axes and stuff like that. I have it written down as Leatherman Surge with removable, and that's it. So I'm not entirely sure if it was a removable file or a removable saw. And number 6 is sleeping bag. Number 7 is a cooking pot. This one is really interesting. She brought a cast iron pot with a lid. It looks really, really heavy, but really sturdy. It looks used too, which was really funny. Like when she opened it up and opened up the lid, it looked all like, there was like speckles of like food. Oh, it started raining again, jeez. I think I'm just gonna stay inside here. Yeah, but yeah, when she opened it up, there was like a bunch of food scraps in there, and it looked used, which was really funny. She definitely needs to clean it. Come on, she's like showing off her stuff, and it looks like completely used. It was funny. All right, so number 8 is ferro rod. She has a lanyard around her neck so she doesn't lose it. Number 9 is food rations. Okay, oh yeah. This one is very, very interesting. So for number 9 and 10, she used up 2 slots. She brought 2 food rations. So it was 2 different bags. And so I feel like she's playing it very strategically. And so this is very, very interesting. So numbers 1 and 2, food rations. And so I think what might end up happening, what could happen, is she'll be able to acquire food and stuff and stay like energetic and alive while catching all the food that she does there. And then when it comes winter, right, when it gets really cold and when food is scarce, she could eat and survive off of the rations. And she can possibly like stay longer than everyone else because of the rations. That's very, very interesting. That's an interesting strategy. I'm not sure how that will play out, but let me know what you guys think. That's really interesting. I like that. All right, so that was 2 more people. All right, so we've got 3 more people, and that'll be it. So next person, James Wyatt Black. So he brought a cooking pot. It's a stainless steel zebra pot, actually. I actually have one of those pots. I don't know where it is, but yeah, it's nice. Otherwise, number 2 is an axe. It has increments on the handle to measure stuff, And so, yeah, he'll be able to measure the fish that he catches or doesn't catch. Number 3 is a saw. It's the large silky saw that everyone seems to be bringing along. Number 4 is a ferro rod. Lanyard with black paracord attached to a striker. That's going to be hard to see because everything is black, and if you drop that or let it, like, set it down somewhere, you're going to lose that thing. I don't know why, but it might be that you can't bring like a colored like ferrocerium rod. So, like, for example, if I were to bring one, I would bring this. This is a ferro rod and it's painted red, and so if I like drop this somewhere, I'm going to find it. So I don't know if they're not allowed to paint their ferrocerium rod red or not, but I feel like it would be a really good idea to have this painted red with a really bright colored lanyard. All right, so next thing is a sleeping bag. He mentioned that it was water resistant, which is really important. Number 6 is snare wire. It looked really neatly coiled up with a variety of gauges, stainless steel, and one was a brass in a spool. Number 7 is paracord. He brought a variety of colors also. Green. Oh wait, no, he didn't. Yeah, number 7, paracord. He had 2 bundles of green paracord, and that's it. He said that he's going to use it to make a gill net, to hang clothes, and to tie his shelter together. Oh, that's interesting that he did bring a variety of colors to make like lures and stuff like that. All right, so number 8, he's bringing fishing line and hooks, and he has 5 different types of line and 25 hooks. I think the maximum amount of hooks that you can bring is 25. But yeah, he's fishing, so I don't know why he didn't bring a variety of colors of paracord. Huh. All right, number 9 is bow and arrows. Number 10 is a multi-tool. And this one also looks like an older school version of a Leatherman. It has, he customized it, and he says that he has a gut hook in it and some other items in it also. But yeah, it's customized, and it was a Leatherman though. So that's it for James. Next up is Michael Helton. Number 1, he brought an axe. Number 2 is a saw. It's a large silky saw like everyone else. Number 3 is a ferro rod, completely naked, no lanyard or anything. Hopefully that dude doesn't drop it and lose it. Man, don't do that, man. Hopefully you stick around for a while, or at least tie something to it. All right, number 4 is multi-tool, Leatherman Free P4. Let's see here. Modified to have a spade bit, chisel, and awl. So that Leatherman Free P4 is the same one that I showed you earlier. The P4 is the main like multi-tool that Clay Hayes brought along. All right, number 5 is fishing line and hooks. 250 yards of 20-pound test and 50 yards of 10-pound test. He said that the 10-pound test one is going to be for a gill net. That's very interesting. I wonder how that works. Like I fish and I know what 10-pound like fishing line is like, but then at the same time, like it kind of follows the curvature of the spool and it coils. And if you're going to make like a gill net with that sort of line, I feel like it would be all scrunched up. So do the gill nets they make get tied with like rocks or something on the ends so that way it stays stretched out? That's interesting. I don't know a whole lot about gill nets because we're not allowed to use gill nets or anything like that in Minnesota, so it's something that I don't really learn. So number 6 is paracord, dark green for the gill net, and he also has orange paracord. Number 7 is a cooking pot. It looks like the Pathfinder survival pot also, like this, and it looked unbranded actually. So it was just this pot that he brought. And then snare wire, a variety of gauges and colors, stainless and brass. Number 9 is bow and arrows, and number 10 sleeping bag. That's Mikey Helton. Tarcisio Taz Ramos dos Santos. I think we just call him Taz. This guy is very, very interesting. So like when I first saw him, I was like, is that Bob Ross? Is like literally, seriously, all the people in this season looks like a bunch of characters. Like they're like a bunch of characters, and I feel like they were specifically chosen because they look a certain way also, but possibly because of their skills too. But like all the people that I've like talked about so far, they all look very unique. And Taz being the most unique. And I've got some things that I want to talk about too, so let's get right into it here. So number 1, sleeping bag. Number 2, ferro rod. Lanyard is connected to a striker, black paracord though, so it's easy to be lost because it's black. Number 3, this one here I have a gripe about. This one here is a cooking pot, and his cooking pot is an aluminum 2-quart pot. It is not anodized. It's a naked aluminum pot. So here, let me show you. This right here. This is the exact pot that he is bringing, except this one here is anodized. So see the color? See how it's a darker gray, right? This is from GSI Outdoors. It's a 10-inch pot, and this is anodized, meaning that there's sort of like a coating kind of that like is really deep into the aluminum, and this allows you in this pot to cook acidic foods without it like breaking into the aluminum and leaching out like the aluminum poisons or whatever. I don't know a whole lot about aluminum poisoning, but I hear a lot of people talking about it. And if you're going to cook with any aluminum, you should be cooking with anodized aluminum, not naked aluminum. And that's what Taz brought. And he's going to be using it as a long-term cooking item. And I don't know if that's a good idea. I don't know a whole lot about it, but Clay Hayes brought this pot, this exact pot. So like it's the anodized aluminum pot. It's very, very lightweight. I love this thing, and because it's anodized also, it's naturally non-stick. So like this surface right here is absolutely phenomenal. You can cook an egg on this and it won't stick. And so like it's a very, very, very cool pot, and I love the fact that he did bring it like Taz, but I don't like the fact that it's the naked aluminum version, because GSI makes 2 versions of this. This is the one that you should be getting. Not the naked aluminum one. So let me know in the comments if you know more about this topic, because I am not very knowledgeable on aluminum poisoning, but I know that it's not a good thing. And if you're eating food, no. Yeah, so let me know in the comments if you can bring more to this conversation about aluminum, because what I know is acidic foods kind of burn into the aluminum and it leaches poisons out, and you just don't want that in your system. This right here, however, is the one that you should be using to prevent that. So yeah. All right, next up is number 4 is axe. Mentioned he'd use it for protection because of predators there. I find that really strange. Like I would not be using an axe as protection against a bear. Well, I suppose that is okay, you know, if you do encounter a bear. But like, did he bring a bow and arrow? Yeah, he brought a bow and arrow. If you encounter a bear, your first thought should be about killing it with a bow and arrow and eating it. But yeah, the axe, you know, it's okay. So number 5, a multi-tool, same as Clay Hayes. He brought a Leatherman P4, And so, yeah, Clay Hayes was the winner of season 8. So I suppose it's not a bad idea to kind of follow in his footsteps and kind of bring the same things as he is bringing, you know? So like the mistake that Taz did was bringing a standard aluminum pot and not a like anodized aluminum pot. If he was going to copy Clay Hayes, he should have brought this pot. Otherwise, number 6 is fishing line and hooks. He said that it was monofilament line, and he's going to be using it to make a gill net. Number 7 is paracord. He had a variety of colors: black, blue, green, orange, brown, and red. And so, yeah, he's probably going to be using the different colors to make like lures and stuff like that. Number 8 is snare wire. Let's see here. A large blue spool of wire, and I don't really know what it is. It looks like the aircraft grade wire that Lee brought along. Otherwise, the 2 other smaller spools of wire all look stainless steel, and then there's one small bound freely brass wire. It says that he's going to be catching squirrels and rabbits and stuff. Number 9 is bow and arrows. Number 10 is a tarp, which is interesting because the Naked and Afraid team, I believe they do provide them with tarps, but not like heavy duty tarps. He brought like a really waterproof heavy duty white tarp, it looks like. So he's trading the tarp instead of like the saw. So he would have brought the saw if he didn't bring the tarp. So that's a really interesting choice to bring the tarp. He says that he's going to be using the tarp to make like a boat or something like that. Or like a canoe or something, so that he can like find better fishing spots if his spot doesn't have good fishing. So yeah, that's interesting. All right, so that is all of the 10 contestants and the 10 items that they're bringing along on the show alone season 10. The show alone season 10 airs every Thursday, 8 Central on the History Channel, but they stream it the following day. And I don't have the History Channel, and I don't subscribe to it, but I do watch the show on the following day. So on Fridays is when I am going to watch the show. And so yeah, tune in. I'll be making videos every week and just kind of going through like my review of the episode and just my thoughts. I have everything set up already for my next episode in this series. So this video is basically just going through the 10 items and the 10 contestants. The next video is just a review of the 5 contestants that are shown in the first episode and just what they did and just my thoughts on everything. And so every week I'll be posting a video about my thoughts on each episode. So stay tuned and please subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I will see you next time. All right, peace out.